I do hat tricks. Or hat moves, I prefer to call them.
What?
If you've seen hat moves. These are hat moves.
Anything else?
Oh, well, all types of hat move. The difficult ones.
Uh-huh.
The simpler ones, they're hat moves.
Yeah, well, anything else at all.
Well, you can involve the whole body.
Uh-huh.
In that hat move.
Let's see that.
All right.
Look at me, I'm happy.
Further ado, the dancer extraordinaire, Eddie Bartholomew, and his trunk.
Thank you very much.
Hi, welcome to another episode of My Favorite Artists. This week I'm going to be talking about my favorite clown in the entire world, Bill friggin' Irwin. Bill Irwin is a pretty famous clown, but he's not famous in the sense of like George Clooney or some of the other actors that some of the other performers that I've talked about in these episodes. Bill is mostly known as a clown, but he's done a little bit of everything, which is why I like him. I got to meet him a couple years ago when I was living in San Francisco. He was doing a show called Old Hats at the American Conservatory Theater with David Shiner. I'd actually written him a letter a week before and given it to the people at the box office, telling them, could you please give this to Bill? And when I shook his hand and said, hi, my name's Jamie, he said, oh, you wrote me that letter, didn't you? And at the bottom of the letter, I had given him my email address, hoping against hope that he would email me, knowing that he probably wouldn't. And my main question to him was, how did you do it? Bill went from working for the Pickle Family Circus in San Francisco when he was a little bit younger than I am now, when he was in his 20s, to a couple years later when he was 33 doing a show on Broadway. And it wasn't just any show, it was his own show that he had created from scratch. And he did it on Broadway and won many awards for it. And he's gone on to do lots and lots of other solo shows. So I was like, how did you do it? And the only thing he said was, you just have to put your stuff out there in front of people as often as you can.
Kind of thing.
Honesty, new setting. 95%.
Confirmed. Additional customization.
Humor. 75%.
Confirmed. Auto self-destruct, T-minus 10, 9.
Let's make that 60%.
60% confirmed. Knock, knock.
You want 55?
Object, and John Papsadero, our casting director, had me look at Bill's stuff, and immediately you sort of say, okay, this is what we need. Somebody's a great actor, but he's also a clown. You know, he's the kind of guy who can, you can take a step ladder and make it dance around. And that was exactly the challenge here, is for him to take something that is inherently restrictive and clunky and lacks all modes of expression and try and give it personality through its most basic restricted movements.
There was a conversation with Chris Nolan where he sort of described these characters, which he referred to as machines. He was shying away from the word robot, as I recall. He described them as articulated planks.
Bill was very involved right from the beginning in pre-production when we were really figuring out the practicalities of what the robot was going to be on set. It was very much created with him as a part of the process.
Then there was my first visit to the special effects shop where they were madly building the first prototype of the machine, and we're figuring out how it would work. And it seems a little tricky, but not that bad, because we were working with a cable system where you'd squeeze cables and that would lift the machine up to give clearance.
Originally, it was a very lightweight aluminum structure, easy to move around and pose. As they determined, or as they decided on the actual outside look of TARS, they picked stainless steel. Unfortunately, no way to make stainless steel light. So now the TARS that we had was about 70 pounds heavier. It got up into just a hair under 200 pounds.
As they got heavier with the machine, pretty soon the cable system wasn't going to work because you couldn't lift it anymore. So the special effects shop geniuses had created a compressed air system. So now it's like a video game, and that's lifting it and allowing you to manipulate it.
It was great having Bill Irwin and getting his feedback on what he could do.
There he is, Mach 1. Everybody good? Plenty of slaves for my robot colony?
I gave him a humor setting so he'd fit in better with his unit. Thinks it relaxes us.
A giant, sarcastic robot. What a great idea.
I have a cue light I can use when I'm joking, if you like.
That'd probably help.
Yeah, you can use it to find your way back into the ship after I blow you out the airlock.
What's your humor setting, Tars?
That's 100%.
Let's bring it on down to 75, please.
Stage 2, separation.
Bill Irwin has the toughest job of all of us actors on this set.
We'll all be in our astronaut uniforms, and Bill is dressed in all grey. There are times where you kind of forget about him because he's in the corner behind TARS, and I think for him, he's such a loving man and like yearns to connect with people. Having that discipline of him sort of being on the fringe, I think that emotion that TARS feels of not quite being human and being robot just emanates. Even when he's not speaking, it's just there.
I found it very intriguing to try and make something very human out of my one relationship with the one machine on board. In a way, he's my best bud on the ship. And there's an interesting dynamic to be played with there. We just tried to make it a little more personal along the way.
Matthew McConaughey started relating immediately to this machine as if he were a partner. He called me Slick. Hey, Slick. TARS and Case, different functions to different characters in the story. So Case, at least as I've been imagining him, is a softer, a little less experienced robot and pilot. TARS is developed to be this kind of grizzled, hardened, middle-level officer, ex-Marine possibly, with an ex-Marine's sense of humor.
Bill brought so much life and personality and such a lovable quality to TARS, and he really made each one of the characters specific. You knew when you were talking to Case, and you knew when you were talking to TARS. I mean, I don't know what the physical challenge for Bill was like, but he always brought a smile to his work every day.
It's been a gig where just about every aspect of the acting craft I've ever had has come into play. For a physical actor, the proposition was fascinating. 8 months to Mars, counter-orbital slingshot around, 14 months to Saturn. Nothing has changed on that.
Let me ask you something.
Why are you whispering? They can't hear you.
Dr. Brand and Edmonds. They close?
I wouldn't know.
Is it 90% wouldn't know or 10% wouldn't know?
I also have a discretion setting, Cooper.
Oh. But not a poker face, Slick.
Romilly did not survive. I could not save him.
Lander 1, prepare to detach. On my mark.
3, 2,
1. Mark.
Detach!
Goodbye, Tars.
Goodbye, Dr. Brent. See you on the other side, Coop.
The American Theater Wing's Tony goes to Bill Irwin.
A true Renaissance man who has received Tony nominations for writing, directing, acting, and choreography, Bill Irwin wins his first Tony Award for his mesmerizing performance.
Of course, I see the play, having done the role of Lucky, I see the play from the Lucky point of view. The speech, I'm sure, is somewhere, the whole thing is somewhere in my memory. We'll just see how much I can remember. Given the existence, as uttered forth in the public works of Puncher and Watman, of a personal god, quack, 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 with a white beard, quack, 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 outside time, without extension, who from the heights of divine apathia, divine athambia, divine aphasia, loves us dearly, with some exceptions, for reasons unknown, but time will tell, and suffers like the divine Miranda, with those who, for reasons unknown, but time will tell, are plunged in torment, plunged in fire, whose fire flames, if that continues, and who can doubt it will fire the firmament. That is to say, blast hell to heaven, so blue, still, and calm. So calm, with a calm which, even though intermittent, is better than nothing, but not so fast. And consider
Mr. Leeds, did you hear about the party? No. You coming?
Does man deserve to be saved, Mr. Heat?
What?
Man.
Yes.
That's not the answer I expected.
Why'd you ask me that?
I know about your family. I looked you up when you started working here. I know someone killed them. But you can't give up. You can't hide here, son.
I know.
You don't want to become like me. By the way, your invitation would sound more real if it had the guy's name on it. There's something strange going on around this building. Don't think I haven't noticed.
Last semester, some of you came to me and said you wanted to know what the face of evil looked like. Well, here it is.
Hello, class. Everybody ready to learn?
Jekyll's forehead wasn't that big.
You said bulging.
I said prominent. Make it wider, flatter. The chin is too weak. Where did you learn to draw, my dear? Sketch Bambi contest? It's better, but the eyes more wide set and jaw more square, more patrician. Do you know what that means? Patrician. That's perfect. Do you like it, Dr. Langston? I made it for you.
You can go.
Bye, my dear. Dr. Langston, are you a psychiatrist?
No.
A neurologist?
No.
A geneticist?
No, my field is research pathology.
Then you have no expertise in this area at all, correct?
No.
No, you mean yes. You just testified to a complete lack of credentials. So, on what would you base any expertise?
Personal experience.
What can you tell us about your father?
Apart from the fact that he was a mean, miserable son of a bitch who beat me at every occasion, nothing.
What about your mother?
Was that who that lady was who lived with us? I always wondered.
Mr. Haskell.
I killed my first small animal when I was 9. It was a cat. It's usually a cat.
Mr. Haskell.
No one knows why that is. I mean, I know it's a terrible thing.
If you're going to waste our time on playing games of phony remorse, I'll pull the plug right now.
Okay. Honesty it is, then. I didn't like your book. It's too technical and too depressing.
And let's talk about something you enjoyed. Your first kill.
Oh, you never forget your first time, but I think that discussion's a little too intimate for this stage of our relationship. Maybe when we know each other a little better.
That's why we're here. Class, question and answer.
Serial killers usually have some sort of selection process. What was yours? How'd you choose your victims?
Did you ever buy a car? You go down to the showroom, you're pretty sure you're going to get one, but why the red one? Why not the blue one? Nobody knows, but just one of them speaks to you, and that's the one you gotta have.
How much premeditation was involved? Did you fantasize about what you were going to do?
Of course I did. All the time. You remind me of my first lay. She was a hooker. I meant that as a compliment.
Did you ever share any of your experiences with anyone? Like with a buddy?
I didn't have any buddies.
Well, you must have had some friends. You seem like you could be friendly.
These days I mostly have fans. I get at least 2 or 3 marriage proposals every month. But they don't allow conjugal visits, so why carry the baggage when you can't have the fun? You're not a student. What do you teach?
Sociology.
Tell us your definition of fun.
Fun is taking something away from somebody. Like a nice Jewish girl, for example. Taking her off on a little vacation, just 3 days and 3 nights of heaven on earth, and then just heaven. L'chaim.